All right, so here we go, y'all. Good evening. Grandmaster Jerry Fast Feet Fontanes, just 4 days away.
Hello, how you doing?
4 days away from the UMAN Fountain of Youth National Championships. So excited. We look up there. Luis Bad Boy Ruiz. This guy was now. He was one of my idols as a teen. Actually, before teen. I used to see his name in the magazines as far back as 1977, 78. Did not realize he was a teenager. My gosh. It was Luis Delgado from the Bronx, Puerto Rican. Luis Ruiz from the Bronx, Puerto Rican. Luis Fernandez, half Puerto Rican, half Cuban, from the Bronx also. And then me. Those are the top competitors to me that were Latino, at least that I recognize. And it happened to be Jerry and the three Lewises, which is crazy when I think about it. But anyhow, so Luis Bad Boy Ruiz, as you see there, came. He said, I'm getting my shirt. And the number he picked was 64, his age. Some of you guys have already prepaid, and as I announced earlier today, you get an opportunity, if you have already prepaid for your t-shirts, your historical t-shirts, to get the number that you choose. Now, some numbers I've taken, and I've posted them, the ones that pretty much were, like 23, of course, is gone, 21 is also gone, and a few other ones. However, 33 is gone too. 66, I just mentioned 64.
21.
I mentioned 21. And the numbers 1 through 30, pretty much. Anyhow, so we're signing them. Can you get me one of the shirts that I signed? My number one. I had to take number one. And then someone was smart enough to say to me, hey, can I have number 0? And I said, so I guess we could put them from number 0 to 99. 100 t-shirts. That was a smart move. Cisco, smart guy. And but he was also number 6 because he was literally one of the first people to order two of them. So here is in the lower left-hand side or right-hand side, number 1. And then in this one in particular, I signed it right there. And then I can have more than enough space for a whole bunch of people to sign. Now, some people have requested the name in the front. I'll do that too, based on you guys. But in general, I'm going to do them in the back. And we have a lot of surprises, guys. There are a lot of surprises. I'm getting phone calls non-stop. This event, again, is only for people in martial arts age 30 and above. And I'm going to reiterate, yes, beginners, intermediate, advanced, black belts, OGs, all the guys and all the girls, pioneers and legends, competing to prove they still have some gas in the tank. The tournament rules, guys, I'll give you an overview. When it comes to point karate, mandatory, you have mouthpiece, as long as you have teeth, because someone didn't have teeth. He said, do I have to wear mouthpiece? I'm like, well, I guess not. Groin cup, this is for men. Gloves, whether it's foam dip or what would be the vinyl type that's being used in Europe, except you must keep your hand inside. You extend the glove, you will get a warning. Boots with your foot open, unless they're ring stars. No kung fu sneakers, guys, that will cut somebody. We don't want that. That's the equipment. Headgear, optional. Face mask, optional. Lip protector, optional. Elbows, optional. Even shin guards, optional. This is a throwback to the 1986 and before. So, those things are optional. Now, when it comes to points, every technique is 1 point. 1 point for kicks, 1 point for punches. 1 point for a sweep with the follow-up, as long as the follow-up scores in the body, the head, light contact. There's no knockouts here. It's point karate like it used to be. You will get disqualified if there's blood from the nose or excessive contact. So that's going to happen. Now, you're allowed to do an open hand technique, but only the ridge hand is the open hand technique. You chop someone, which would be a back fist, you're not going to get a point for that. Your hand must be closed, and your glove must be in your or on your hand. There's a habit that's been going on for many years. This is not the place for that. Now, outside rule, whether it's fighting out or pushed out, does not matter. 1 time out, 1 warning. 2 times out, 2 warnings. 3 times out, the person who went out, I should say the person who got the person out, gets 1 point. 4th time out, 2nd point. 5th time out, person's disqualified. In other words, you went outside the ring 5 times, the match is over, you have now been disqualified because you went out 5 times. These rules were back in the days. Now, you have 3 seconds if the person drops to the floor to score on them. In other words, you sweep them, you have up to 3 seconds. When in reality, it should be immediately. But I remember even competing as far back as '88, and the person was on the ground, and I remember Larry Callahan going 1, 2, which means that you have 3 seconds to be able, even though it should be immediately. You cannot kick the person to the head, meaning stomps. There's no jumping stomps to the head or the body, but you can punch them and you can kick them to the body as long as it's not a malicious technique. Now, guys, most of you guys, you can still get down, but getting back up is not that easy, right? The floor is not a padded floor, which means this, is you can have better traction. We fight on padded floors and then that floor shifts and I get nervous a lot of times in my knees. And for whatever's worth, guys, for those of you who are worried about sweeps, and yes, the supportive leg could get swept too. I have never heard of anyone being quadriplegic, paraplegic, or been majorly injured by getting swept. In all these years, I don't remember that. And for those of you who say, hey, the headgear is mandatory, no, it's not mandatory. When you look at the WKF traditional guys, they don't fight with any headgear. They're allowed to sweep, yes, it's on a mat, but the fact of the matter is that the mat, depending on what type of mat it is, it's not conducive to fighting. I jam my toes in those puzzle mats, and those puzzle mats start to get air, they start to float like I saw this year in some tournaments. And I fought another tournament where they had a match, but the match was grappling match, which takes a lot of bounce off your knees too. So we're going to where things used to be a wooden floor, period. The ring is 20 feet and 5 judges for sparring. Blood rules, disqualification, no kicking to the leg. Yes, sweep, but not a kick. That'll be a warning. And that warning is the same thing. If you turn around and you hit the person 3 times, the other person gets a point. If you do it 5 times, you're disqualified. Outside rule is different from what would be illegal technique. And I mean, I don't see this thing really happening. There's no reason why. Most of you guys, pioneers and legends, been around long enough. You know what a quality technique is. If you're hitting the person to the body, it's not going to be a slap fist to the body. We will not allow the lead hand back fist to the body. It's not happening. That so-called European jab. This is not the place. It's 1986 all over again, and the ball must go in the hoop in order for you to get a point. And there's not going to be no this that, judge here, we're not doing that. It's going to be the center judge moved back. Says judges score so you can see all 4 judges. And you got to call immediately. Late calls will not be counted. But it's not going to be what you see and what you see and what you see. Not that either. It's judges score, boom. And you go. Not the 3 judges inside the ring where you can't even move, and just because the guy moves forward, they point and they think that they're running the ring fast and they're being efficient, but no techniques are going in. Now there is a rule, guys, called the honor rule. If for some reason the judges miss the call and you get scored on, you have the option to say, timeout, he scored on me or she scored on me. And if you do that, you're showing honor and respect. That's a throwback to a time that most people have forgot about, but you already know when you're competing against somebody, you know when you scored or didn't score on. And hopefully we don't see something that would not let people be invited again. If you get kicked to the head and you start going, no, it wasn't in, like that type of nonsense that we've been going on, the judges are going to give the point that they see, but I won't invite you again. I will not invite you again if you think that it's okay to make believe you're scored just because of what happened in the last 30, almost 40 years. Because it's not about honor and respect when you're doing that. All of us know that we're going to go out there to perform because we love this. And this is an opportunity for us to dust off and clean off our body parts to start doing something that we love. However, we're not going to disrespect anyone by having what would be the fiasco of these little kids. So let's consider this is an adult tournament about honor and respect. If you score on me, like I always have it, I give you the point. I'm going to get you back. And getting back also means with a quality technique and not some crazy fisticuff. That's not going to happen either. So that's in general. I'm not sure if what's the other question to what would be the sparring, but I'll definitely go over again.
Sorry, guys.
Honey, look at you as the sponsor. This is important. This is very important. I'm going over the rules.
Sorry.
But she's happy because our sponsor up little bit, and Coco actually she ate all her food. So that was a commercial break. No problem. So in forms, guys, we have Japanese Okinawan, we have Korean, Chinese, American, and open. And let me explain. If you train in a style that was invented in America, you're not going to do what would be the traditional style forms. For example, I teach Fontenay's martial arts. Any of my students who do my curriculum forms will go to the American division. The same thing with the people who develop their styles in America, which includes, listen to what I'm saying, and this guy did this years ago, it includes the martial arts ballet, aka Junri Taekwondo. That is not traditional Korean. It goes into the American division. And the American division has no music. Now, if you're doing self-defense, if you're doing what would be a made-up form with music, you go to the open division. Even self-defense with music. Yes, you're allowed to use self-defense with music in the open division, because pretty much that's an entertainment, or what they used to call in California, they call it showmanship, but we call it open division, which anything goes just about. So, as a recap, old school point karate, the only time it's 2 minutes of running time, and it will only end before 2 minutes if two things happen. One, if you get 10-point spread. So if the score is 11-1, that's a shutout. If it's 10-0, that's a shutout. If you go outside the ring 5 times, you are disqualified, and fighting is fighting. Meaning fighting out or pushed out is the same thing. In addition to that, if you're doing forms, like I said, now, if you made up a style and you call it Chinese, but it was made here in America and it's not a traditional style, do not go into the traditional division, because you will be disqualified based on it being an authentic style, especially in the Chinese. Because, people make things up. The Japanese Okinawa is the same thing. Don't make up a form and make it act like it's Japanese just because somebody created a style and named it a Japanese style or Okinawan style. No. It has to be from the curriculum of those styles. Now, women have options. I'm going to say this loud. Women, you have 2 options. You can compete in what would be the women's forms division, or the way it was initially. Women can compete in the style. Yes, against men, but let's keep it real. When women look as good as men doing forms, they win. So yes, there's a double standard for the women right now, because they get an option to compete at 9 o'clock in the morning. So let's say a woman comes in and they miss their 9 o'clock in the morning when they were scheduled. No problem. Based on your age, if you're 30, 40, actually all the women are 50 above. So that means you'll be competing at 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. if you're in your 40s and 50s. And if you're 60 plus, you're competing at noon. But that would be against the adult males, or I should say the adults, the males, in the style. In other words, a Japanese kata, Chinese or American kata versus the men also. But if you only want to compete against other women and not do the style, then you come at 9 o'clock. If you miss your division, then of course we'll make sure that we accommodate you. And if for some reason, and I'm going to say this again, if you miss your division and you're already paid, then what we'll do is that we'll reimburse you the difference and make that into a spectator ticket, if you choose to. If you choose not to compete, then we'll reimburse you the entire thing. So don't worry, for some reason you missed your division, there is and will be refunds. And I'm the only promoter that's probably ever done that in the history of sport karate, but that's the right thing. God forbid you guys miss your division. We have options. Or we can take the entry fee and divide it into merchandise and or spectator VIPs or what have you. Okay, so don't worry about that. The weapons division is the first division for everything. In other words, you're doing weapons first, forms second, and then sparring third. So weapons starts 6 rings. Immediately after weapons, then you're going to go into forms division, same ring, so you don't have to go wandering around. And finally, you'll be able to. As a matter of fact, guys, I promise that tomorrow I'll put ring assignments. Now, if you look above my profile photo, or what they call that?
Cover photo.
The cover photo. I actually put the schedule of the rings. Now, I'm going to number the actual divisional rings, and I'll put that up tomorrow. But it's pretty simple. We're running 6 rings, mostly. And I say mostly because at 10 o'clock, we're doing a 30, 40 to 44, 45 to 40 to 45 to 49, 50 to 54, 55 to 59. So that's only 5 rings. Why? At noon is when we're doing the 60s. And it starts with 60s weapons, forms, and that's 60 to 64 and 65 to 69 at noon. Weapons, followed by, I apologize. It goes like this. Weapons, forms, point karate, and then continuous contact. Now, not a lot of people doing continuous contact, but let me go over those rules. There are 2 2-minute rounds of light contact. There is no full contact and no knockouts. So we got kickboxing world champions that know the difference. It's called continuous contact scoring. Now, in this case, it's still 5 judges. Center referee, 4 judges. It's a 10-point must system, meaning the judges will point towards the person they thought they got the most scoring. Above the belt only. No sweeps, no groin shots, leg shots, and no spinning back fists. I'm going to say this again, guys. No spinning back fists. Why? In continuous contact, if you throw a spinning back fist and you catch the person with your forearm or the elbow or even the glove, that now is going into full contact. So there's no spinning back fist. Say it one more time. No spinning back fist. Now, the headgear is optional even in continuous. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the professionals haven't worn headgears in many years, and I honestly would rather have somebody comfortable competing, because sometimes you see people fighting and their headgear, if they're fighting against their headgear, like, and things twisting and stuff like that. So, personally I hate headgears, but that's your option. If you want to fight with headgear and a mask, and you want to fight with elbow pads and shin guards and a rib protector, no problem. You're allowed to use as much equipment that you choose to. But again, what's mandatory, even in continuous contact? The mouthpiece. The gloves are, listen closely, not point karate gloves. If you're doing continuous contact, be prepared. You must have boxing gloves, at least 12 ounces. At least, most people have that already. If you're doing continuous, and I would assume that you're coming with boxing gloves. If not, then you got time to get them. But most people know that. Now, yeah. No, we dropped the high and the low because it's old school. We have 5 judges, as opposed to some other formulas that they do. So it's still a throwback to back in the day. We dropped the high and the low to get the average of the 3 because we have 5 judges. When today they have 3 judges and they don't drop the high and low. So it's a little different, but it's back to how things used to be, but it makes it a little fairer. Now, continuous contact again. 2 2-minute rounds with a minute rest in between. If for some reason there's a tie, then you're going to go 1 extra round for 2 minutes. 1 extra round for 2 minutes for continuous contact. No grabbing and hitting. We got to remember, all of this is working on the techniques. And if there's any other questions when it comes to that, make sure we'll address it. Okay, weapons forms. If you drop the form, the weapon, you're done. You can't pick up the weapon and continue. Sorry, that's back in the day things. Back in the day. We have 2 different options. You can do traditional weapons or open weapons. What does that mean? If you come from a traditional style and you are doing Koshiro Konsho, so on and so forth, or a Kung Fu style, you go into the Chinese division for that, if it's traditional, and then you go over to the Japanese, Okinawa, and even Koreans have weapons forms. If you're not sure and your instructor invented it, then you do the open weapons division. There's an open weapons division. And there you're allowed to do pretty much what you want. However, or in addition to, you can use music. In the open weapons division, you can do made-up forms and you can use music. Now, I might have I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. Guys, if you have any questions for me, please send me them and I will address them tomorrow. However, I believe that I went overall with these rules. I will put these in print and I will post them in addition to the verbalization that I just did. But it's really a simple thing. When someone says, what's the rules? 1986. What was that? Pretty simple. We didn't allow the competitors to be the ones that ran things. We have no coaches, guys. In other words, there won't be a chair on the other side where there's a coach. That's not happening. Competitors are the only ones on the floor, and I'll be grabbing the mic and moving around quite a bit anyway. So, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time, and I'm excited. If for some reason, like I said, I forgot any of the subject matters when it comes to the rules, then I will address that. Now, I will say this. The nighttime finals at 5 o'clock, there will be a total of, I think it's 9 judges. Not 5. 9 judges, I believe. I have to double check if it's 7. But there will be more than 5. And I'm not sure what else to say, guys, except that we're excited. Again, if you order your t-shirts, then you have the option of putting the numbers. Otherwise, if you get them on location, then it's whatever the number of the t-shirt is. That's it. We do not have but 100, and I could probably say that there's high 60s still available. So we're excited. I got a haircut. Didn't realize I had gray hairs. I don't know about the stress thing. But all honesty, guys, every hair that I have that's gray, I cherish it because we made it to this age. How lucky are you and I to still be around? We get a chance to have a wonderful time with a bunch of crazy people like us. The doors open at 8:30, guys. Eliminations for the under black belts and the ladies, women, starts at 9. If the women miss their division or choose to do the styles instead, then they do that. If you're doing both, that's your prerogative. especially if you benefited from the 3 divisions that you signed up from way back when. In addition to that, if you know anyone who wants to spectate, let them know it's more at the door. $30 for eliminations presently, and $65 for the all access. At the door, it will be $40 and $75. You can do this up until Friday night. Shidoshi, I know you're there in spirit, and maybe in the near future, because we will be doing an event in the West Coast, Florida, Texas, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, and Puerto Rico. Yes. So from the West Coast to the East Coast, North and South, and Texas Central. These are events that I'm personally promoting, and we're looking for what would be regional directors. Karate Illustrated map. The only difference is that it is not region. Canada's not region 3 anymore. It's Puerto Rico until we get the Caribbean. Canada will have multiple what would be regions, and these will be put in the Deadly Art of Survival magazine, which will be covering this event live and direct. If you have any videographers, we will have media passes. And I don't mean someone with a phone. I mean a videographer, because there's opportunities for multiple documentaries. We're looking to record everyone competing. Willie Bam Johnson, the legendary one himself, Professor Willie Bam Johnson, will be interviewing people throughout the course of the day, and in addition to that, when they win. So if you have any videographers, you give them an opportunity to participate in what would be his and historical event. And I'm going to announce this. For those of you who are having challenges with what would be a place to sleep, please contact me direct, because I might be able to help you. We already do have a handful of people that will be very close to Ms. Littlebit and I when it comes to this event. And I'm not sure if I'm missing anything, guys. I apologize. The t-shirts are $27.99, but not when you go on location. They'll be $30 on location, unless they're the big sizes, and we only have, I think, is it 2 or 3 double X? There's 3 double X left, and there's 3 triple X's left, and that's it. And those are slightly more, but I announced that before. Oh, that rhymed. Those at the door will be $33 if it's a 2X, and $35 if it's a 3X, and up to from small to extra large, $30 at the door, $27.99 now. If there's anything else, guys, if you have any questions for me, you can actually post them here now. I'll take some of the questions in case I forgot something. If you get hit and there's a malicious technique, you will get a warning. Second time, the person gets a point. Third time, you're disqualified. This is it. Listen to this. If someone comes with bad intentions, and I'm talking about to the head, not to the body. Sorry, guys. If you get hit to the body and you drop and you can't continue, you're the one that lost. That is a legitimate point technique. That same thing to the head. If, God forbid, you bust in their mouth or the nose, sad to say, you just now been disqualified because it's not a full contact tournament. But it is, and it will be, I'm going to say this, someone slaps somebody with an open hand to the shoulder, that's not a point. Someone gets jammed, meaning the knee does not lock when you're throwing a roundhouse kick or a side kick, a back kick. If you don't lock the knee, it's called a chamber. Even if it takes the person's win out and it's not a legal technique, it's not a point. If you hit a person with a hook kick and your calf did the hitting That's not a point. It must be with the padded part of the heel and or the bottom of the foot, which is already hard enough. Again, no sneakers. No sneakers. No sneakers. And I think I went over all of the particulars. I will be writing this thing down and posting it tomorrow. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so excited. I'm proud of you guys. I am so proud of you guys because you guys are the ones that are not talking about it. You're stepping up to the plate and you're going for it. As opposed to people half your age that are making excuses of why they cannot compete. Well, 30 years young is the youngest person in our division, and so far 84 is the elder, with a possibility of a 91-year-old competing. Yes, I said that. And for those of you who are doing forms, I must say this. If you're doing forms, I respect you. I invented the phrase "catafag," but I had to make adjustments to that. What I really mean is that you guys are in better shape than the fighters. Because for me, there's no way in life. To answer your question, yes. If you do still have Ring Star sneakers and only Ring Star sneakers, you can use them even here. However, between you and I don't suggest you do it, because if they sweep you, you're going to get swept a lot easier. Unless if that's the only thing you have, like I did for many years. Now I take both. I take the Ring Star sneakers and the pads, because sometimes the floor is just too slippery, like happened to me recently. And when you slip, I don't know about you, I get scared that my knee, because all it takes is one little slip and that knee ain't the same. Oh my God, guys, I have to stop it here, because I believe I went over all the subject matters. Or I'm gonna just announce one more, and this is the last thing. For those of you who are coming to the event, and only the first 300 people, you will get the VIP collector's item for the competitors. And on that note, God bless you. Best wishes. We're going to see you guys really soon. If you have any questions, my number is 914-535-6034, but it's on the flyer, and we've posted that many a times. Schedule again, you saw it. If not, I'll say it one more time. Yes, Ring Stars are absolutely, bar none, okay. However, I'm telling you, some of the Ring Stars are slippery, even when wet. It happened to me. All right, guys. Any other questions, please post them. Send me direct questions. I'll do my best to make sure these things get up sooner or later. Anything else, miss?
No, I think you did it good.
I appreciate it. Okay, let me explain. Again, at the door, you have two options. Either $40 for eliminations only, or $75 for all access, which is eliminations, finals, and after party. That same thing right now is only $65. Or if you're doing just spectators for eliminations, it's presently $30. Now, think about it. Everyone that you're watching are nothing but a pioneer and legend. This is a historical event that I'm extremely excited about and grateful. And no, this is not the only one. Like I said, we're going nationwide, and we're looking for other countries as partners. Yes. OGs, older guys and older girls. Warriors, come out and play, AB.
See ya.
God bless.